Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Another episode of Empowering Intuitives Explored. And we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. And this podcast will then be on Spotify later. So this week, give a big welcome to Ty Gold, the alchemist. Hi, Ty. How are you, my dear?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Oh, me too. It's wonderful to see you. I'm just going to share this out and tell everybody a little bit about you.
Sure.
So you are the New Earth mentor who's been channeling Christ consciousness frequencies since 2013,
Mhm.
and you help the New Earth leaders with community and biz building strategies. How awesome is that? Hi,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Welcome, dear. Thanks for
Hey.
thanks for sharing this out. So, Ty, tell us a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Like I said, I'm mostly working online these days, but I guess we all are, so that's not like a big. I miss teaching and workshops. My husband and I spent 2 years being digital nomads before the pandemic happened. I miss traveling. I miss the in-person workshops. So hopefully we'll get to be able to return to that soon. There's a synergy and an energy that exchange that happens when you're in front of a live audience. It's like I think like magic. It's really good stuff. So right now I'm mentoring spirit messengers in my signature training program. And it's a
Nice.
12-month mentorship where I kind of teach them how empath empowerment, how to fine tune and kind of stretch and utilize their clairs, and then we end up in angel or divine communication, and I help them with their businesses in there and understanding their soul signature so that they're able to call in kind of their highest and best soulmate clients and best match to them based on who they are authentically. And so it's a really like soul led heart gift of a program. I really have enjoyed it. I've been mentoring about 15 people for the last year through that training. So it's been a real
Awesome.
honor. I see it like this amazing call of like duty that we have to provide this type of mentorship, because it's such
Mhm.
a I guess like a marriage between like personal development, business, expansion, and then even like the spiritual mentorship side of it. So I just think it's an incredible honor, and I'm grateful that the divine's given me such a amazing program to be able to do that. And then I'm always in our Be Your Own Guru community, doing some fun stuff and playing in there in our
Yeah, that's
Facebook.
a great little community. I like being a part of that. So thank you for building that. That's
Sure.
awesome. So yes, when I was thinking about who would be a really good fit for the show, I thought, Ty would be wonderful to come on and let's talk
Yeah.
about spirit guides. So that's the topic for tonight. And we both have a lot of experience working with many different guides. And so when we say the word, let's define it a little bit for people. So
Sure.
what would be your understanding of a spirit guide? And then I'll give what my understanding is.
My understanding has evolved. So I think it's important to understand about me. My divine support team has predominantly trained me for the last 10 years. I've been under their tutelage. I didn't have an instructor or mentor per se. So I woke up to my guardian angel's voice one day and ended up writing out 8 pages of notes that was guidance. So my answer 10 years ago has evolved to that question, um, as I've grown to understand them. I can tell you where I'm at presently. I feel like our spirit guides are our soul friends. They're like our uh, peers and playmates, and um, I feel like they're really great. They can be great mentors, um,
Mm-hmm.
and Yeah, I think they understand your soul's like path, destiny, where you're going, and they can be a great help to kind of like lift you up emotionally, lift you to the outcome that you desire, or the life partner you would like to have. I think they're just, I utilize them for everything. It's like my phone a friend.
Yeah,
Like seriously,
exactly.
that's what I use it for. All the great content, and I just feel like they're full of tons of great options and suggestions.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think there are divine helpers. And one thing that I have found over the years, my idea of a spirit guide has also evolved. And that's probably just based on my experience as a medium, as a medical intuitive. I have different guides that come in for different experiences that I'm doing. And so when I opened up to my medical intuition, all of a sudden I had all these new guides that were coming
Love it.
in, and I got to like get to know them and what they came to help with, and just and you get to tap into their wealth of knowledge. And it's so
Hmm.
beautiful when I'm doing different kinds of readings, and I have different people that um, chime up, and I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of that.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's really a fun exchange and interplay with
Hmm.
the various guides. Hi,
Agreed.
Elizabeth. Hi, Marisha. Welcome, guys. And please feel free
Hi.
to uh, talk in the chat and ask questions, because this is your format as well, and we want to answer the burning topics that you have about your
Mhm.
spirit guide. So awesome! Thanks for joining us. So one thing I think is interesting is sometimes you know, we can have, like we had kind of touched a little bit, we can have many different people that are guides. It could be
Mhm.
like what we would call ascended masters, like
Sure.
Jesus or Mother Mary, these
Mhm.
high vibrational beings that have that wealth of knowledge and divine presence. That they may be assisting us. It could be loved ones that are assisting us as a guide. Like my grandmother has been my
Mhm.
guide with me this whole lifetime as my guardian. So that you can have
Nice.
sometimes your loved ones can serve
Mhm.
as your spirit guides as well. You can have angels, sometimes they may kind of cross over and say that they're guides. We have our guardian angels that look after us. Um, that's my understanding, that it can be so many different people.
Mhm.
And honestly, I have probably 25 different guides that I work with,
Mhm.
depending on who I'm working with, that are my
Mhm.
intimate guides, you
Right.
know? So that's why I always call it my collective team, because it's really a vast number of people that you could really take the time to get to know.
Agreed. Agreed. I call mine, you've probably heard my A team or my divine support team. And mine do honestly switch out from like ascended masters, archangels, or even galactic. My
Mm-hmm.
galactic friends
Yes, absolutely.
who've been really wonderful as of late. And so I'm really open to them. I always ask if I don't know who it is,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always open to whoever it is that shows up to kind of offer their support and advice. It always tends to be the friend that I need at the time, and I've
Right.
been I've been communicating with them for so long. You have too. You can tell the difference in who they are as soon as they step into your energy field.
Right.
Um, and one of the things I've noticed, since we're talking about the interchanging of like guardian angels, ascended masters, archangels, galactic beings, for me, I just see them as almost like different area codes because of their frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that there's like a hierarchy system. I don't, would you
Okay.
agree?
Um, as far as a hierarchy with
Like an archangel being like better than this or master that, or,
I
you know
think they
what I
just
mean?
all have different jobs, and I think they
Yeah.
all have different frequencies, different vibrations, just as we are here. We have different frequencies, different vibrations,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that they just have specific roles.
Yep.
And no, the one's not any better than any others. Hi, ladies,
Right.
welcome. Yeah, so I don't think that there's one better than another for sure. And
Right.
one thing that I found is my guides changed when I learned lessons. So some of my guides left years ago
Mm-hmm.
after they've served their purpose. They were
Mhm.
there really to help me um, in my younger years, let's
Yeah.
just say. Those guides kind of shifted out once I learned what I needed to learn, and then new people came in for new
Mhm.
challenges that were
Yeah.
afoot. And so I always make the joke, if you guys know me, I make the joke that go, when somebody new comes in, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
My first thought is, oh boy, okay, we're on a new adventure. Who's here and
You're gonna
what's
have to
going
break them
on?
in. Yeah.
We got to break them in. We got to get to know them. What are they here to do?
Yeah.
Because it's just a whole new other beautiful adventure
Mhm.
that you go on. But my first thought is, oh boy, what's
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were ready to take on a new adventure, and all of a sudden they show up. And I like how you said about, you can tell by their frequency. And so I'll just explain that a little bit, if for those that don't know. Like, sometimes people are very clairsentient and they feel, and you can
Mhm.
feel the difference in vibration, just like you could feel the difference if you're standing in a room and I'm standing in a room and somebody else is standing in the room. We can
Mhm.
feel their energetic signature, and a lot of people, that's how they use their psychic abilities. And then some of us, we hear them. So I hear them with different voices, and I
Same.
can see them.
Mhm.
So I see them very clearly for how they represent themselves to me.
Mhm.
Um, I see them as their divine white light, but when they step out of the light, I can see, oh, that's why you're here with me. Um, like my Chinese medicine doctors, or,
Right.
some of the other healers that come in. Um,
Yeah, it's almost like the sense of smell for me. Like
mm-hmm,
it isn't clairgustance, but it reminds you of that. You know how like you know what perfume your grandmother wore?
mm-hmm,
It's like that sense of knowing. As soon as they step in my energy field, I just know who it is,
yeah,
clairsentiently and claircognizantly, because the name just boom is there. Yeah.
nice,
And
nice.
I have been teaching this divine communication for so long and facilitated so many conversations when guides are leaving and other ones are coming in. And they love to help to establish, like, and I don't know if you've done this, but they love to tell the client that I will have sitting there how they were connected in a previous lifetime,
Mm,
what the story was of how they came together or what they were there to teach them. They always want to like give a farewell. And then they usually talk about who's coming in and what they're going to be helping that person with. And the clairs tend to change that they use. The way they're communicating often changes with the next divine support team member, I've noticed. So usually somebody switches up their skill set a little bit.
oh, well, I mean, I think that might be the case. And sometimes people just don't know, or they just don't say. And I tell people that, one of my mentors said, I'm not all hung up on that. I don't need to know their name, what they did, why they're here. I just know their vibration, and it is divine, and it is of the pure light,
Mm,
and I accept them into my team and we work. And I don't need to know
wow.
those things. And I thought, well, that's a beautiful weight, because I know a lot of people would be stressed out over going, but I don't know my guides' names. Well, I
Oh,
don't know my
wow.
guides' names. I don't ask.
Really?
It's not something that I know why they're working with me. I know what they look like. I just don't spend the time in doing that. I just know, okay, we're going to be doing this kind of work. I call you in. Boom, we're here. We're going to work.
Yeah.
I don't get into the little socializing of it all. Like, some people really do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for those of you like me that we really don't go down those roads, you don't have to do the work
No.
and to do it well. Hi Shelby, welcome. Hi Amy, hi Brenda, welcome guys. Marisha has a great question here. She says, what is the best way to hear and get messages from your guides? Question mark. And then she says, question mark, meditation.
Hmm.
So go ahead and take that. What's your idea on that?
I think a lot of people are naturally born clairaudient. If you're not, I think anyone can develop it as a skill. Sometimes I think that requires some energy medicine and some practice. But I usually tell people really pay attention to the amount of water you're drinking, meditation for sure. If you're already somebody who can write poetry or short stories, chances are you're already clear cognizant and not aware of it. So I think sometimes it's learning how to decipher whether or not that's already coming in. Um, Yeah, water, meditating, and listening to other people, listening to yourself, like full stop, listening all together will actually encourage that.
I like that. And my usually go to is meditation and or dream state, because a lot of
Nice.
times we're much more receptive. So if it's something that causes you anxiety, just get out of the way and ask your guides in. I always like using the visual of, I'm a garden person, so I always picture my garden, which I love, and lots of fragrant flowers, and I'll sit there and I'll sit on my cozy little bench swing and I'll say, come sit with
Cute.
me and let's have a conversation.
Love
And
it.
when you kind of put it into that way, it kind of takes the thread out of it, if you will. It does takes the pressure off of it. You're just going to have a casual conversation. If that doesn't work for you, meditation for sure. There's lots of them out there you can get on YouTube. Um, and I think that um, really like listening to those subtle voices. There's some exercises in my book about ways to do that. One of my favorite ways is listening to opera music and picking one instrument and use headphones and just listen to it and
Love
just
it.
pick out a flute and
And
then do
track it.
that for a small time and then say, I'm just going to pick out the violin, and you just learn to let all those other sounds go by. Another fun trick is oh, thank you, Elizabeth. She says best book ever. Sometimes I just like I go into a very busy mall, sit
Mm,
down and pick one sound and just let it all else fade away. So that's how you can help develop that your clairaudience and help
mm.
you hear the subtle voices that we have.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Some of my little
Yeah.
tricks. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Great to see you. Shelby says soul guides always appear in your dreams, and I think it's so I can pay attention. Awesome, absolutely, and that's a great way. They sneak into your dream state. So dream journals, asking,
Mhm.
setting the intention before you go to sleep, and then writing. What you experience can help you get some insight as well. And that's a great way to begin,
Mhm.
I think, and then learning how to do the meditations and things too. Cool.
And my divine support team would take me, like, have me go out and kind of stretch, do some exercises. Like one day, they told me to hop on my bicycle, and they would tell me where to go, and it was literally a clair audience exercise
Nice.
where I would get to an intersection and I would hear it, go left and then go right. And the funny thing is, they had me weave through my own neighborhood to a street that I had never been on before. And there was this huge statue in somebody's yard of like Jesus with his arms out. This was the destination that they guided me to. And I turned around and was guided back home. It was really fun.
Oh, that is fun. I like that. You know, some people say, well, I'm not a medium or I'm not really doing much with my natural God given intuitive abilities. So why do I have to know these things about spirit guides? And, I'll let you take that and then I'll answer that. So, like, why would somebody have to know? Why do I have to care about my spirit guides or even interact with them?
I mean, you don't have to, but I was one of those people that I think I had a heartache of like loneliness. And so for me, when my guardian angel started communicating with me almost 10 years ago, I was in a very lonely point in my life. So knowing that I had like this friend was really helpful to me and provided me a lot of comfort. And I've never felt lonely ever since we developed this dialogue. So I mean, you don't have to. I think they make life a lot more fun. Like when I go to bed at night, I've gotten a message that says, you're going to stop at such and such gas station tomorrow and there's a present there for you. And really magical things happen. And
That's great.
they set me up for just really wonderful experiences. They've helped me with my romantic life, my finances, my relationship with my children, my business. There's not one area that they don't help me And I don't mean like I ask and they do. I mean, I have full conversations, with them. I had a full conversation in my apartment today. And I do, I just love connecting with the spirit and the energy of kind of all the things around me, but it all started with this spirit guide connection. It allowed me to develop this communication. I can communicate with animals or trees. I mean, you know how far it goes once you understand the frequency of it's all energy.
Mm-hmm.
My apartment told me she wanted some rugs today, and I just gave so much gratitude that the place is taking care of us. We really enjoy it here. And so you don't have to. I don't think it's like necessary. But I think it's fun.
Yeah. And like you said, you touched on it. It does make life very magical because you really feel like they're right there beside you, because they are right there beside you and they have a vantage point. So, I like the example that you gave about your GPS. I do that from time to time. I would just be driving and say, okay, I'm trusting you to get me to where I need to be. And there's times where I'll be driving and I'll hear, take this exit. And I'll think, what? Like, why do
Why
I have
would
to
I
take
do
this
that?
exit? Like, I don't normally take this exit. Why would I
Right.
take this exit? And if I did, and this is in my book, the one thing I had said, like, I argued with them because,
Of
I do
course.
that to them.
It's good. It's
Because I'm like,
natural.
no, no, why? We can't stop. We have more than half a tank. We're going to just
Mhm.
plow on through. I always stop like 5 exits up. Nope. And they're like, you need to stop, go to the restroom, fill up, and then we're going to go. Nope. I powered through, and guess what? There was an accident, and I
Mhm.
ended up sitting. So I'm like, okay, I listen now. I go, I don't know why we're doing it, but I'm going to do it. And they always have our best interest at heart, and they can see things that we can't see. So it
Right.
does really make it magical. But it's very helpful, like, I think, just in day to day life. For
Mhm.
example, you could say, what foods do you think I need that are most beneficial to me? And they may give you an inspired thought. You may not hear them
Right.
clairaudiently, but you might have this inspired thought like, maybe I think I'll have a chicken salad, or maybe I think I need this.
Carrots.
And yeah,
I keep
like
going for the carrots.
they're going to give you an inspired thought on something that your body really needs. Ask, and they will help you.
Yeah.
Um, and you can use it in your work. I teach a lot of professionals the same thing, and they come to me for readings. What should I do? I have this big court case, or I have this big business meeting. I'm not sure who all's going to be there, what I need to know, blah blah blah. And they'll ask their guides, and they'll start to listen, and they start to build their own intuition about,
Mhm.
I think I need to change the venue. I think I need to do this. I think I need
Mhm.
to do that. And when they listen, they find out, wow, that's really cool. That worked better, and I secured the deal. I've had lawyers that have come and asked about this a particular case. Is somebody really telling me the truth? And I'm like, but your gut instincts are already telling you that you don't think they're telling you the truth.
Right.
So what does your guts, what do your spirit guides tell you about this? And so I
Mm.
kind of help lead them through how they can start to trust it on their own. And so they may get a reading from me and they're like, I thought that already. Yep, see, like you already had that. Yeah.
I love
Marisha
that.
says she always asks for help when she's looking for a parking space.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. That helps as well. I always ask to travel safely. And again, that they intervene around my GPS if needed.
Yeah.
Trust is a key factor for sure, Shelby says. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to learn to just hear those subtleties. Um, and like I have certain guides that come in and they work strictly with healing. So when I'm
Mhm.
doing any kind of healing, in my medical practice, in my energy practice, if I'm just sending healing to somebody, I call in my whole team. I have a huge team of healers, and they will go to them, work with them as I'm energetically working with them. They'll go
Yeah.
right there around that person and work
Yeah.
on them. So even if you aren't sure if you have those kind of guides, if you're doing any kind of healing, call in and say, I invite healing guides to come and work with that person on that end. Just
Yeah.
invite them to come and start working with you
Yeah.
and trust that
Definitely.
they are. And it'll be always funny because when you purposefully do it, I notice people on the other end will be like, man, I felt like I had a bunch of hands all over me. And I just chuckle. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, you did. You know, your
Yeah.
whole team was over there. So you just trust that when you invite, they come in because they want to do that divine work.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I'm going to tell you something about me. I don't love shopping for clothes and like shoes. Shopping in general is really not fun for me. So my team knows that I'm like a get in and get out kind of girl. So you know how like every once in a while you need like you need an outfit for like a particular event, right? And you don't have something that you want to wear. So usually in the days or even the week leading up to it, I'll start getting a feeling about what color I want to wear or what shoes I want to wear. And then I'll just wake up one day with the feeling or the guidance to go to this particular store, or and when I get there, they've got my size, they've got the color that I want. It fits me perfectly. It's on sale. I literally go in the dressing room, do a twirl, and I'm out. I'm done. It's so great that they help me with shopping. The other thing they're notorious for is encouraging other people to gift me clothes, and
Nice.
they literally told me, we know how much you don't actually enjoy shopping, and this is why you have people handing you clothes.
That's so funny.
Isn't it great?
Shelby says, I need to try that. Indeed,
Oh, I'm
Shelby,
serious.
right? Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. If you guys remember, those of you that have followed me for years when I used to do Periscope, do you remember my chairs? So, my mother, the woman that I call my mother in spirit, Bernie, she was talking and she wanted me to have these antique chairs, her and my great aunt, because they love their antiques. And so we kept
Nice.
talking about them and talking about them. And I said, you ladies, I love the idea, but do you know how much money they are? I'm not spending that kind of money. I'm just not doing it. I said, you find it. And when you find it at a price that's right for me, I'll buy it. Literally one day in the middle of my work day, it was very, very busy. And I heard, go on eBay right now. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm like seeing 30 patients. Go on eBay right now. I went on eBay and I saw these chairs, and like these chairs were like 400 and some a piece, but on that there was both of the chairs for $200. I went, oh, I
Wow.
was get out for both of them. I was like, oh my god! They're like, you gotta get them, you gotta get them. You guys remember the
It's
chairs?
amazing.
And so I said, okay. And then I bought it and I went, oh, you have to pick them up. I'm like, oh my God, where did I buy these? It was
That's
in
amazing.
Georgia. That all of a sudden, like everything fell into place. I had a friend in Georgia who was going to help me get the chairs, da, 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 da. But it all kind of worked out because I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not, you guys, you have these great ideas, but you don't understand. Like that's way too much money. So if you just ask and then put it
Mhm.
back to them, put it out to the universe, they will work on it, and then you'll get
Yeah.
that inspired thought. And I literally went on eBay and I typed in these chairs and I went, get out of town. It was a
Unreal.
funny
What a
story.
gift.
Thank you.
I love that story.
So it's great. But you have to learn to just go with the flow. And like, here's what I tell people that don't really trust it. What's the worst
Mhm.
case scenario? You take five
Right.
minutes out of your day and you go on eBay, and then you realize, okay, I got behind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Or you're like, you don't find it. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. So
Yeah.
ask and you shall receive. Exactly. Hi
Love it.
Beth, welcome. Hi Lynn. Good to see you, ladies. So please feel free to put in the chat if you guys have any questions about spirit guides and that we can try to help answer for you.
That's awesome.
So if you had to tell somebody something, one of the most important things about working with your spirit guides, what would that be for you?
Well, my team sent me with a list of 10 things they want us to
Awesome.
discuss today. And I think we've already touched or brushed upon a couple of them. Yeah. Is that okay if I just do that? If
You
I
go
share
right
them?
ahead. You go
Okay.
right ahead.
And I would love for us to talk each one of these back and forth to
Yeah.
see what you think.
Yeah.
But the first one is they cannot stop you from harming yourself.
Oh, interesting.
Your decisions are yours to choose, and they can't save you from the decisions that you are making that may be harmful. So, so like
Hmm.
overspending, or maybe you should have let somebody else drive a vehicle or something, something like that. What do you think
Well,
about that one?
I think they allow free will, but at the same time, they may speak up and say, "Is that really what you want to do?"
Right,
Especially
right.
like they may question you, but they cannot physically restrain you. But I know that they will, you know, and then they're famous for, if you don't listen, to go, "Well, I kind of
Well,
gave you the
yeah.
advice." Well,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. But yeah, they can't intervene in that way. However, if you, let's say, let's this example came to me. Say you felt like very hopeless and you wanted to commit suicide, and you had a plan and intention and you started it, and then you changed your mind and said, "Please help me, I don't want to do this." Guess
Hmm.
what? They're in. They will
Yeah.
bring somebody to intervene and to help you right then and there, despite, because you asked for it. If you would have
Hmm.
said, "No, I don't want any help from you and I'm going to go ahead and do this," they can't force you to do different than your free
Agreed.
will. But
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with people over the well, because they know this is kind of my wheelhouse, and so I get to hear a lot of people's stories, and I've heard so many references from people where they thought that if their divine support team member was looking out for them, they wouldn't have let them do X. If and it doesn't really work that way, because we do have free will and we do have the choice.
Oh yes, I do know that. I learned that one the hard way.
So this kind of relates to the first one, that they will not talk you out of things. They will allow you the space, room, and time to see the answers and the results clearly. They may give you alternative options or ideas to consider, but if you're determined to make a choice and are adamant that it is the right one for you, they try their best to support, advise, and guide based on where you are and the decisions you're making.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And they're always there to pick it up the pieces when you change your mind back or change it
When
in a
you
different direction.
when you get to the what do we do now stage.
Or as I like to say, my ancient Native American would just go, "You'll be back."
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be
We'll,
back.
we'll be seeing you soon.
Yep, I'll be here
Take
waiting
take
for
your
you.
time out. Divine is number 3. Divine intervention only happens when you ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention when there's chaos going on in your life. If there is, consider what you can do to fix or address it. Then ask your divine support team to help you out.
Yeah, you have to ask for it.
The fourth one is relationships with your divine support team members are never ending. Like a family member, they'll always be there when called, but some may fade to the background or interchange based upon life events or circumstances. So it's like what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that I think your team, it's really your spirit team. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, some people call it your soul family, but
Sure.
even your guides are part of this team. And you can be different things for different people. I
Yep.
may serve as their guide in another
Yeah.
lifetime. But we all are the same. I can't, I just keep going back to the word team, but it's the
Yeah.
soul connection that we
Mhm.
have. But the rules flip up for sure
Yeah. Yeah.
in different
When I
incarnations.
when I tune in and communicate to a lot of people's divine support teams, I literally see them at like a conference table, like it's a whole board meeting. And I get to see all their little sometimes there's a fairy in there, or a galactic guide, or a grandmother or something like that. It's quite the interesting mix.
Well, and some people's guides can work with other people, and that's something
Mhm.
that people don't always know. My great great grandmother is one of my guides, and somebody said, "Well, do I have your permission to work with her? And I said, well, yeah, if she wants to work with you, I don't care. Like she's a fantastic resource. If she wants to work with you, have at it.
Yeah.
But they can, and Elizabeth said we're all the same consciousness. We are, and I make the joke sometimes. I have fired my guides. I had one that I was like I just don't want to work with you. Like I know that you're there for my highest good, but we were just it was I just struggled with this particular guide um, because of my personality and his personality
Hmm.
in the way that it is. And I just like, can I have somebody else please that gets it like a little bit gentler? and
My husband did
um,
that with a guide too.
yeah, I've only ever done it one time, and they did. They brought somebody else in, but
Hmm.
he's around, and
Yeah.
maybe we're gonna work together in the future. I mean, I don't know for sure, but yeah, like sometimes that's just whatever we're going through. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, here's number 5. And I've actually run into this. So apparently, I think it's obviously important. It needed to be said. You should never have any version of a romantic relationship with a guardian angel or spirit guide. It violates the contract and commitment of what they're meant to provide. And this is a very unhealthy attachment or relationship that will put a soul in the lower realms and vibrations of earth. These spiritual support beings are meant to be our friends who have soul contracts to help and support us.
Well, that's interesting. Um,
Yeah,
I I've not encountered that, and
I have twice.
I don't know why because guides don't fall to that. Um, they don't
So
usually engage in that, so that's why I'm like,
guides
right.
don't, but the I've had 2 experiences of people who have um, kind of postured themselves aiming to create that.
Oh, so it's the person's own stuff that they're projecting. I see. Yeah, that's somebody else's stuff. Yeah, that's not what the guides are here for. That's not their vibration. That's not their intention. They're not going to pursue anything like that.
Mhm.
That's not what they're to be doing. And that's I've never heard of a guide doing that. A person,
No.
oh yeah, depending on whatever issues they're working out, they're projecting that onto a guide. That's a tough one. So yeah, that guide would probably remove themselves to have somebody else come in, just because they're missing the lesson and they're projecting other things on. So, I mean, I'm sure that could probably on the human end of it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, never from a guide standpoint.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's what the whole structure of that conversation was. That it's not a thing that they do.
No.
The next one was just that they're your peers. There's no hierarchy. They may have the advantage of certain vantage points in perspectives, which I think is almost word for word what you said. They're not ever meant to be worshipped, idolized, sacrificed for, or bartered with.
Nope. Respected. I
Sure.
respect and I give thanks and gratitude
Yep.
because I'm so grateful for their vantage point because I have the understanding and the knowingness that I get in my own way as a human.
Sure.
I know there's other things that I should or my life purpose. I don't like to say the
Hmm.
should, but I know I get myself off track sometimes as we all do.
Right.
And
Sure.
so I'm just so in gratitude even though I argue a lot with them. I am in gratitude that they're trying to give me that buffer to say, hey, you might want to get back in this lane. This is kind of where you want to be. So yeah, learning to just appreciate with gratitude, I think, is the best way to embrace them.
Yeah, and that's another scenario that I've seen where people were almost considering the guidance that they were receiving almost like a commandment, and that there was going to be some punishment if they didn't follow through.
Oh,
So these are some kinks that I've had to
mm,
kind of mediate and kind of help people iron out through the years.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not experienced people doing that, but I mean, I guess anything is possible. But yeah, I mean, they're not to be worshipped, just like angels are not to be worshipped. They are not to worship. They're to assist you and to help support their support. Like I call them like the supporting cast in this lifetime for us. Like
Nice.
they really are there. If we tap into their resources, it helps you. If you don't, like you said earlier, you don't have to. You don't ever have to talk to any of your guides. You don't have to listen to a word they have to say. You can just be stubborn and rock and roll this life any which way you want. They're
Mm,
gonna just still be there. And
yeah.
if you change your mind, but you don't want to talk to them, you don't have to. And that's part of free will. But uh, it's unfortunate people that don't, because you really miss a
Mm,
huge part of an advantage in this lifetime.
right. Yeah. So here's number 7. You connect with them through your heart, not through your mind's eye. If you want to establish a strong connection with your divine support team, realize that your heart is the echo chamber where all those conversations come through. If you want to hear, see, communicate, or connect with them, you need to imagine that your heart is a telephone or a portal to the angelic realm or the guide connection.
That's kind of interesting way to put that. Um, I mean, I don't. That's funny. When you're saying that, like, I just thought, I'm like sitting here going, I never thought about how I'm connecting with them, because they're just, it's so innate for me that I
Sure.
just haven't thought about that. But that makes sense, because it's the vibration of love, right? And the
Mhm.
divine um, frequency of love. So love
Mhm.
comes from the heart. So that, in that way, I would agree with that. Um, I just,
And the heart is the center of our intuition. Like all the pulses and sensations and the signals, they all go there first, you know?
well, it's the, yeah, because that's where you were vibrating that frequency from,
Yeah.
um, and radiating that out. So, I mean, that makes sense. I guess it's just funny because I just haven't thought about it in that way. Most people think it's just from the crown out to
Mhm.
the divine, and to me, it's, I look at it, it's just like a ripple. Their their dimension and ours, it's a ripple. So I feel like it's just there, and I connect with them in the interim space a lot,
Mhm.
which is not, it's a different dimension or space.
Sure.
It's hard to explain that, but that's my common ground with them, you know. So I really connect in that space with them. But it
Mhm.
is, but it is a frequency change. Hey Kelly,
Yeah.
welcome, honey.
Awesome. Okay. Staying grounded each day will equally help and is important for establishing a conscious conversation and connection with your divine support team. If you're not walking, being outside, or exercising each day, your connection may become spotty.
Well, I think with that comes protection and getting into a ritual of grounding to the earth, inviting all of the divine helpers in to help you set that protection, because it's hard to keep your grounding as you move through
Mhm.
your day if you don't hold that divine connection, earth connection
Mhm.
with protection from the divine.
Yeah, definitely. And having that link. Okay, this is number 9. The conversations with your divine support team members will always be guidance that is loving, soft, and full of suggestions. Now, I know you were just telling me that your team was calling you stubborn and
They joke, we joke
and a
around a
pain in
lot,
the
and
ass.
they do, they joke, and they're just like, sometimes, because I do give them a hard time about some things that I
I
don't
can't
want to hear,
imagine.
and they'll still come back in a very loving way, and they joke around with me
Yeah,
about being stubborn. They're just like, oh, that streak, like, and they just
yeah.
chuckle about it. It's very lighthearted.
Good.
I'm like, yes, I know I'm being stubborn, and they chuckle. But but no, I agree with that. It's always in a loving way.
Yeah.
And like I said, my one guide will just go, "You okay? I'll be here when you get back. Like,
Right, right.
go do what you need to do with it. You'll come back and we can continue this conversation."
Yeah. So the rest of the guidance that came with that is they will never shame you. The conversation should be something that lifts you or inspires you or makes you happy or encourages you or teaches you new things. There will never be anything scary or that would tell you to harm yourself or another person. If you do go to connect, and I teach divine communication. So if anybody does go to connect and they do feel like they get something that's less than love, the rule always is hang up and try back later. Like you've got static on the line. This is not a good connection. Hang up and try back later. And they say preferably either outside or under the moonlight and stars is a great time to aim to connect with the divine.
I would disagree on that to be a great. I think any time is a great time to connect with the divine because you're connected all the time. So whether we are conscious of it or not, we're always connected. And so you can have a conversation and they are hearing. And the more you connect and the more you interact with them, the
Mm-hmm.
stronger that connection is. So I'm going to disagree on that one.
I
But
think the suggestion was if you aim to connect and you have something that's concerning, less than loving, that the next time you go to connect,
oh,
consider doing it outside or underneath the stars. I think is kind of like a cleansing, purifying, grounding,
I see.
protecting thing. It was kind of the two together.
Okay. I would handle it different for me.
Yeah,
If I connected in with something that I felt was giving me negative things,
sure.
immediately I would call in the highest vibrational divine beings to remove it. Period.
Nice.
End of story. I don't need
Good.
to wait to connect. I'm just going, okay, I don't know how this thing got here, but okay, next, we're getting rid of it. And
Yeah.
just call in and trust that it will be removed. And yeah, at that point, you might want to then do some grounding and some clearing of
Mhm.
your own, saging, things like that. And then maybe being more mindful and purposeful as you are connecting.
Mhm.
So until you really know your guides and your um, exact vibration that you're
Mhm.
dealing with, set the intention, say a prayer, ask and invite them in every time you connect. And like set boundaries, like I only work with the highest vibrational beings, that's it, I'm not connecting this energy to anything else, so please set that as my
Love it.
minimal boundary.
Mhm. Mhm.
And once I started to do that, I no longer connected with anything that wasn't of the highest vibration.
I'm really glad you brought that up. That's a great point. Yeah, good.
And you, Elizabeth says she's seen me do that. Yep.
Send them out.
Yep. Out you go. Bye bye. Because it does happen, but you have to know that you have the power to
Mhm.
disconnect, like you said, and say, I'm not talking to you.
Bye.
No, bye. And that Kelly says that works for her too. Yeah. You just call and they come and take it away. And they really do. It's like, shoot, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. The last one is these conversations might make you laugh. Your spirit guides know you on a deep level. They've been your ride or die teammates for multiple lifetimes, and you chose them. If you let them in, you will cherish getting to know each and one of their sense of humor. Yeah.
Yeah. I laugh like my gentleman um, is so reverent, and he's just a wonderful, so knowledgeable, a
Mm,
Chinese physician, and he talks to me and teaches me so much about herbs and different healing mechanisms and modalities. He's very, very, very dry sense of humor, but
mm.
it's so funny when I can get him to just go like it's
You
just
get him to laugh?
like I could never get him to a belly laugh, but like some of those things are funny, and he doesn't have too much of a sense of humor when I try to go too far, one way. But you're right; they really do have unique personalities that they bring to the table, and um, they know how to work with you
Mhm.
and approach you, and it's a two-way,
Right.
like that guy. At first I was like, man, do you ever laugh? Like, come on,
Yeah.
I like to laugh. Like, do you ever laugh, or is it all business? He's like,
Mm.
business. Oh, okay, that's the kind of
Oh, good. Fun.
let's get back to work, I'm
Mm.
like, okay, I get it. So um I call upon him when it's business, and he's amazing, and he's right there like boom 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 boom, but that's
Mhm.
his personality. He doesn't
Right.
want to joke around about a lot of stuff. He just wants to come in and give what he needs because he goes elsewhere when I'm not needing him.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that his time. So I'm like, all right, we're not, this isn't social hour. We're doing work, and that's what we're here to do. And we do it in a beautiful, loving, gratitude way. And it's so powerful. And I am so grateful to have him do the work to help my patients. So they do have really unique experiences that they bring and their personalities. Elizabeth wants to know,
Mm.
have either of you found connecting with your team when in crowded areas are distorted, enhanced, or hard to do? That's a great question.
Yeah.
I find if I have a headache, or I am in such, I'm such a strong empath, and it can be challenging at times. If there's way too much going on, I get overstimulated. And
Hmm.
then I just want to close everybody out because it's just too much. And I know I have to remove myself and get grounded again. But I'm not a person that likes that. Like, say, if it was, like 100 people, really loud music going on, everybody talking. Ooh, I'm gonna be limited in that situation. I'll still hear my guides, but I don't really want to talk to anybody at that point. Um, I don't find it hard to connect. I find it hard to stay grounded, stay centered, and want to talk or want to be involved in it.
Hmm.
For me personally, that's how I
Hmm.
find it. What about you? How do you find it that it's hard or distorted or enhanced when you are in crowded areas?
So it kind of depends what exactly I'm doing. Um, I start out very clairaudient, and then I get a lot of pressure and tingle sensations in my body. Um, I've really honed in on like being able to use your body as a pendulum thing. So my team and I can have pretty much conversation anywhere. And it's very internal for me. I had a friend one time contact me, and I was like in a Sam's Club shopping, and she asked me an intuitive question if I could tap in and do this or that. And me at the time, probably 5 years ago, wanting to be like a good friend, I was like, sure. And when I go to connect to the divine for someone else, I'm almost like dispatching a signal out this way for like the greater guidance. And as soon as I went to, it's like a different hookup for me. As soon as I went to do that, my team said, do not open your energy field inside of Sam's Club. You will have problems. And I think that some of that is because I'm an empath. I'm also a medium, a physical medium. And I think it was much better for me to do at home. For that kind of thing, if I'm going to be utilized or be in service for someone else, I don't usually do that like in a public area. I used to actually have a hard time at psychic fairs. I don't even do them anymore, but I spent a couple of years doing like the whole psychic fair circuit, and I didn't really enjoy that. That was kind of chaotic for me. Um, to kind of
It
like
can be.
yeah, to kind of like well, even the whole 20 minutes, I'm like, I have so much they're wanting me to tell you. I sounded like an auctioneer. Um, but I didn't. I think I probably in 2 years I may have done 5 or 6 of those, and I just wasn't my cup of tea for sure. Wasn't my scene. So does that answer your question, Elizabeth? I guess
So
my answer is
it
I don't prefer to do that out and about.
so there's some techniques that I've learned at fellowships of the spirit in Lilydale. We would do Fun Fest, and that's where you have probably at least 25 or more, probably more than that, mediums in a room back to back to back to back to back, and
Wow.
we're all reading. And so you have to learn and you're reading somebody else sitting right there with you. So there's at least 25, if not maybe even up to four. I don't know. I'm terrible with numbers. I'd have to count how many are there. But you have that many other people, clients that you're reading, and it's quick, and but you have to learn to bubble it.
Yep.
Um, so people do this to me all day long. I get messages from other intuitives that just want a validation. It literally, it's all day long. I can tell you. And so what I do is if I tap in with and check in with myself, and if
Mm.
I feel a little wonky, I just shields up. I put the violet flame up and I tap in and I just go. And it's just like boom, boom, boom. And you can learn to be really efficient with it. I think grounding and learning some really powerful protection,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I've changed that over the years, and the one that I'm doing now I think is the most powerful, that I've ever done. That I can do it all day, and I'm in the middle of my day, I'm working and I'm listening to audiobooks and I'm typing and I'm seeing patients and I'm doing this, and I'm still being able to just tap in and go in and out, and it's not draining, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel overwhelmed in those situations. um, so I think it's like you said, it all kind of varies. But if I'm having an off day, I didn't sleep as well, I'm not holding my energy quite the same,
Mm-hmm.
then it might be a little bit more taxing for me. And I might have to go into a room by myself in order
Yeah.
to answer it instead of just as I'm walking through the office, or as I'm, you know, like I might have to just go close my door, sit a minute, and then do it, but I'll still be able to do it. Does
Right.
that I hope that helps. So you have to
Yeah.
play with it. Everybody's different on,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on the day. It depends on it really does depend on it, what's going on astrologically, because
Sure.
as empaths, all of us in this room are empaths. We're all affected by our environment, galactically,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. So it may wax and wane, and that's perfectly normal, I think. But we just have to be self aware of it, and then ask our team to help support that. You know,
Yeah.
um, if I'm feeling off, I'll just say, okay, can you help me with, what do I need for energy? What do I need to do? And
Right.
they may give me some guidance, like just do some breath work, pranayamic breath work right now. All right, I can do
Mm.
that. When you
Yeah.
can't think for yourself, it's really good to utilize their brains, because they're going to know what you need.
Yeah.
Or you can say, phone a friend. I don't know what I need. Like, I was sick with COVID, for 6 weeks. And at one point I was like, Spirit, look, like, I'm done with this. Am I going to die? They said no. And I said, but then I need some help right now. And I'm like, I feel like I'm at death's door. That's really how bad I felt. And my
Mm.
energy was so thin. I mean, lots of people contacted me that said, I think you're really, really a lot sicker than you think. I'm like, yeah. It was Christmas Eve, literally within an hour of me putting that to the universe. I said, I don't even know what I need, because I can't think clearly, but I know if I
Right.
don't do
Right.
something different right now, I'm tanking.
Wow.
And my sats were in the 60s. My heart rate was really, really high. And a beautiful woman that's going to come on this show later, on Christmas Eve with her family, said, I needed to contact you immediately. What the heck is going on? So Spirit brought that person, because
That's
I'm like, look,
amazing.
man, I'm telling you. And she said, you have myrrh. Go pick up your myrrh. Like, she gave me a list of things to do.
Wow.
And as soon as I did some of the things, I mean, struggled to even get up and find my myrrh. I put that all over me, and I felt grounded. So I was really sick. Trust me when I say that. But that's how we can help our guides help us. Even when
Right.
we don't even know, we can't even think for ourselves,
Mm.
they can help. Just say, please help me. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm 40 minutes from anybody and I'm tanking. And
Yeah.
I'm not calling 911, so somebody better get to me.
Yeah.
And it will happen every single time. I promise you, it'll happen every single time. Yeah, and I talked to her afterwards. I said, woman, you were such a godsend. She goes, and I
Mm.
hadn't talked to her in years. It's probably 3 years. And she's like, I just got the intuitive hit. I needed to contact you immediately. How many times have you people that are in the room right now has that happened, where you thought, I really have to reach out to that person. I don't know what's
Love
going on.
that.
It's pretty important.
Tuning into that divine guidance.
Oh my God. So there is Dr. Rebecca Sanders, the woman that popped in on me. She goes, how funny it was that she popped in at this moment, right? How awesome. Becky, great to see you. She was like total godsend. She was amazing. And, but that's what happens. Spirit will pull somebody else that's tapped in, tuned in, turned on, and ping them that you need something. And it always, always, always is of benefit.
I
So we
love
got to
it.
honor those things. And
Yeah, for sure.
honestly, if it wasn't for Dr. Sanders that night, I don't know.
Oh, I'm
I
so
was
glad you
still
got
tangled.
better. I'm so glad she was able to help.
I know, right? She's amazing.
Mhm.
She's amazing. So welcome. I mean, how funny is that she just popped
That's
in? We haven't seen her.
alignment at its finest. I love it. Magic.
Yep. So, that's really a fantastic real life example of how spirit guides are really tuning in
Yeah.
and helping us with just daily things, right?
Yeah, and I'm having so much fun playing. The last, I would say, 2.5 years, um, the the personalities that have shown up on my divine support team have been even dragons. I went through a whole
Nice.
period where I had a different dragon every night when I would close my eyes, pick me up and take me for a ride, either joy riding or swimming. When my son was diagnosed with cancer, I was having a hard time getting myself to sleep each night, being with for his second diagnosis, and having the dragons come pick me up each night and kind of take me somewhere for some magical ride was literally how I fell asleep, and it was just so heartwarming. And even the fairies and the elven league, like all of them have just been so much fun to work with and play with and get to know and explore. So I recommend it, whichever flavor or is assigned to you or you get to work with. Most likely, if you have an interest in whether it's mermaids or whatever, you most likely have some sort of connection on your divine support team that resonates to that. So yeah, I'm so glad we had this conversation today.
I know, is awesome. So, guys, if you want, Ty's website is messengersofspirit.com. Reach out to her, see all the fun things that she's doing, and help promote her. And if you want to know more about me, you can always go to my website, empoweredwellness.org. It was so
Thanks, Shelby.
awesome. It was
Yeah,
so awesome to see
Shelby,
you
so
again.
it's great to see you. And do you mind, before we cut off here, do you mind telling everybody about your special event in July, where they can find you if they want to come have you do a gallery reading for them? I think that would
Oh,
be so awesome.
well, thank you, dear. Yes, I'll be back in Altoona, Pennsylvania, July 31st at the Jaffa Mosque for Medium in the Raw. And then October 2nd in Hagerstown, Maryland, I will have another show. You go to my website, I put all of my news and events up there. So, yeah, if you can come see me live doing some mediumship gallery readings, please join
Let's
me.
fill
It's
the
so
theater.
much fun. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Thank
thanks
you
for
again
having
so much. Thank you all for joining us, and we will have another great show next week. You
and
take
our
care,
divine
Ty.
support team members. Thanks to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. We need to thank our divine team and spirit guides for aligning this tonight. Thank you so much. Have a great week, guys.
Bye.